Here's a truth most men never hear. Not from their fathers, not from dating coaches, and certainly not from the women themselves. That truth is this: women do not choose men the way men think they do. We assume it's about looks, about money, about status. Sometimes, yes, those things matter. But the real decision, the one written in her instincts, the one whispered in her nervous system, that choice happens in silence. You won't hear it spoken out loud, but you felt it. You felt it when she smiled, but never called. When the date went perfectly, but she drifted. When you gave your best, but still weren't the one she picked. It's not that you weren't enough. It's that you didn't speak the language her instincts listen for. Today, on the Soul of Life channel, we go deeper than opinions or trends. We uncover the emotional codes most people ignore. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll stop chasing approval and start becoming the kind of man a woman silently waits for, but never dares to test. Not because you played a game, but because you finally remembered who you are. Part 1. Safety to surrender, not to control. When most men hear safety, they think of softness. So they try to be nice, gentle, predictable, easy to love. But that's not the kind of safety a woman is looking for. She's not looking for a man she can lead. She's looking for a man she can lean on. She doesn't want control. She wants release, a moment to exhale, to not be the strong one for once. And here's the part most men miss. That safety she craves, it's not found in words. It's found in stillness. Stillness under pressure, calm in the chaos, presence that doesn't flinch. Imagine this: she's emotional, accusatory, dragging old wounds into the present. Your heart's pounding. Your ego wants to fight back. You want to explain, defend, fix it. But you don't. You take a breath. You hold the frame. You don't collapse into her storm. And without saying a word, you tell her everything. You tell her you're not afraid of her feelings. You won't abandon yourself to please her. You're the anchor, not the wave. That's the moment she feels safe. That's the moment she starts to surrender. Because real safety doesn't come from comfort. It comes from containment. A man who can hold space without losing himself in it. As Machiavelli once wrote, "Fortune is a woman, and if you want to master her, you must treat her boldly." The words may sound harsh, but the truth beneath is this: the feminine doesn't trust what's soft, it trusts what's solid. Not forceful, but unshaken. And in that quiet power, she finally finds what she's been aching for. A place to put her guard down, and a man strong enough to hold it all. Part 2. Curiosity over clarity. We've been told that honesty is everything. Be transparent. Be emotionally available. Say what you feel, always. But what no one tells you is this: clarity kills curiosity. And once a woman stops wondering about you, she stops feeling drawn to you. Not because you did something wrong, but because you gave her too much too soon. You became a page already read, a story without suspense, a map with no hidden trail. Here's the truth most men never learn. Women don't fall in love with what they understand. They fall for what they're still trying to figure out. Her attraction isn't logical, it's imaginative. It feeds on subtle tension, space, moments left unexplained. Let me ask you, do you always reply right away? Do you tell her everything you're feeling? Do you try to make things clear, every step of the way? If so, you may think you're being kind. But what she's feeling is predictability. And predictability is the death of attraction. Now imagine the opposite. You meet her, you're calm, grounded, not rushing to impress. You say less than you could. You hold something back. Not because you're hiding, but because you're not performing. You don't explain where you've been. You let silence speak for you. And suddenly, you become a question she wants to answer, a puzzle she wants to solve, a presence she wants more of. Not because you chase her, but because you make her lean in. That's the power of subtle mystery. It's not manipulation, it's masculine restraint. the willingness to be felt, but not fully decoded. Because when you let her imagination participate, she doesn't just like you. She becomes invested in discovering you. And that changes everything. Part 3. Social value is biological truth. Here's something uncomfortable, but undeniable. If the world ignores you, she will too. Women don't choose in isolation. They choose based on what the world reflects about you. Call it status, call it energy, call it instinct. But deep down, her nervous system is asking one question: if no one else sees his value, why should I? That's not cruelty, that's biology. In the wild, animals don't chase the wounded, they chase the one others follow. It's the same with humans. We take cues from the crowd. You can be a good man, honest, kind, loving, but if you're invisible, if no one else notices you, you won't register in her subconscious as desirable. Now flip it. You walk into a room, you don't seek attention, but you get it. Your presence carries weight. Your voice has gravity. Other people respond when you speak. You're not loud, but you're noticed. Maybe another woman smiles at you. Maybe men show quiet respect. Maybe you look like a man who takes care of himself. Body, mind, purpose, and she feels it. Suddenly, your attention means something. It's not just flattery, it's currency. Because now, you're not just any man. You're a man of value in the eyes of others, and that value activates something deep in her. This doesn't mean becoming a show-off. It means building quiet power. Developing yourself in silence, so your presence speaks before your mouth does. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if one cannot be both." But in modern terms, be respected first. Let love follow, because when others admire you, you don't need to convince her of anything. She already knows. Part 4. Emotional leadership is king. Some men lead with money, some lead with charm, but the ones women remember lead with emotional gravity. Let me explain. Women don't need you to match their feelings. They need you to anchor them. When she's joyful, you celebrate. But when she's spiraling, angry, afraid, you don't spin with her. You ground her. That's what emotional leadership looks like. Not reacting, not rescuing, guiding, without needing to control. Let me paint you a scene. You're at dinner. Something small triggers her. She lashes out. Loud, emotional. Most men panic, raise their voice, retreat, over-explain, but not you. You stay calm. You let her speak. You listen, not to fix, but to understand. You breathe. You hold your center. And something incredible happens. She settles. Not because you gave in, but because your presence told her, "I'm still here. I'm not afraid of your storm." That's what real strength looks like. Not cold, not distant, but unshakable. You don't feed the chaos. You absorb it. You don't match her energy. You reset the room. That's leadership, without a crown, without a speech. Just energy that says, "I don't follow the mood, I set it." Women don't consciously ask for this, but they test for it. They'll push. They'll pull. Not because they want to break you, but because they want to know you won't break yourself. Machiavelli warned, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." In love, that means you don't wait for peace to return. You become it. And when you lead like that, you're not just her partner. You become her emotional home. Part 5. Detachment is the final power. This is the hardest truth for most men to swallow. The one who holds the power is the one who's willing to walk away, not out of anger, not to manipulate, but because he refuses to lose himself just to keep her. See, most men are terrified of disconnection, so they overcompensate. They chase. They explain. They fold. They confuse devotion with self-abandonment. And women can feel it. They sense when your love comes from fear. When your yes means, "Don't leave me." When your silence is actually begging for peace. But a man rooted in detachment, he doesn't threaten to leave. He just does, if his values are violated. No drama, no loud exit. Just stillness, and a missing presence. That silence, it speaks louder than any argument, because when she realizes you won't fight for what's beneath you, she understands your worth without needing a reminder. This isn't coldness. It's clarity. You're not trying to punish her. You're protecting yourself. Because peace is your priority. Not attention, not validation, not a place in her life. As Machiavelli might say, he who needs the crown the least is the one most fit to wear it. That's who you become when detachment is in your bones. You can love deeply, but not cling. You can care, but still walk when your lines are crossed. Because the man she can't shake, the one who doesn't fear losing her, is the one she never forgets. And here's the paradox. The more you're willing to walk away, the more she wants to stay. Not because you controlled her, but because you never needed to. Conclusion: the man who doesn't chase, so now you understand what most men never will. She doesn't choose you with logic. She doesn't weigh a list. She doesn't analyze your resume. She feels you. She listens to your energy before your words. She watches how you move when you're not being watched. She notices the tone you set, even in silence. And that's where real selection happens. It's not about impressing her. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to impress anyone. You lead. You listen. You hold your ground. You don't collapse under pressure. You don't perform for love. You don't over-explain your worth. You live it. That's the man she surrenders to. That's the man she respects. That's the man she chooses, and never tries to change. Not because you chased her, but because you stood so firm in who you are that her only option was to follow or fade. And if she's not the one, you let her fade. No panic, no pain, just peace. Because the man who has become whole within himself doesn't chase love. He attracts it, naturally, quietly, without noise, without need. That man, from this moment on, he's you. And if this message touched something inside you, don't let it stay in your head. Leave a comment, not for the algorithm, for yourself, to mark the moment you stopped chasing and started choosing. You're watching Soul of Life, where we speak the truths most people avoid, so you can become the man most people never become. If this helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And above all, keep standing. Keep choosing peace. And keep building a life that doesn't beg to be seen. It simply cannot be ignored.